Hello, everyone. This is Hope from Pros Before Bros. Tuning in on Wednesday, October 17th. It's the middle of the month. Oh, yeah, it's about the middle of the month. It's the middle of the week. I was going for that. I'm tired. I'm in a food coma right now. I just got home from dinner with my husband. So I'm trying not to fall asleep on you guys. But anyway, it's October 17th. I'm still waiting for my damn email for Crate saying my shipping has been confirmed. Guys, I'm so bitter. I really want to get this email because I'm really anxious to do another unboxing. But that's not why you're here. Let's talk about why you're here. I had a few updates for you. So I thought I would just go ahead and make hopefully a quick video of updates and let you know a couple things that's going on. First off, I want to let you know that we are doing the live show, and it is going to be the live show on the one, the only, The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. If you remember, this is a sequel to The Gentleman's Guide of Vice and Virtue. Amazing, amazing book. I feel like such a bad person because I like this book a lot better now. I like the first. And I like the first. But I love this book. That's between you and I. Anyway. So we're going to be doing that this Saturday, October 20th. And that is going to be at 2 p.m. Messes up 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. 3 p.m. Ouch. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And when I say we, it's not just me. Ouch! I got the hiccups, y'all. It's actually going to be my dear friends, the Happy BookTuber, and also Books with Brandie Shanae. These two lovely ladies have two incredible stations here on BookTube. Stations? Wow, I just went 90s. Let's try that again, Hope. Channels on BookTube. And I'm going to put their information down below. That way you could check them out. I highly recommend them both. But we're going to be doing a live show based on our reactions to that book. And we would love for you to come join us. The live show is going to be on Brandie's channel. Once I get some more information, I'll send out some happy reminders to you via Twitter. And also a Friday vlog. Guys, I swear to God, all I had was food. I didn't drink. So yeah, stay tuned with that. Like I said, I'll post some information. That way you could come and chat with us and let us know your thoughts on the book. We're super excited about it. So without further ado, let's talk about the other reason why I'm here. So I wanted to give you guys an update on my TBR for this month. And let me tell you, before I start talking about it, I gotta give you a disclaimer. I'm an Aquarius. We don't follow rules that well. We're very eccentric. We change our minds all the time. It's ridiculous. We're lucky if we could come up with two matching socks in the morning to put on our feet. So with that being said, guys, I haven't been doing my TBR that much this month. I don't know what it is. I'm really excited about all the books on my TBR that I have planned out. But then I keep getting these other books that I'm just crazy about. And I really want to read those too. And I'm just feeling very conflicted right now. It's like a love octagon. It's not even a triangle. It's just a freaking octagon at this point. Because there's just so many books that I am just fascinated with. And I want to read those. So needless to say, I've been doing a lot of reading this month. I actually finished 9 books. But only a couple of them are actually on my TBR. So that's what we're working with. Just to kind of give you an idea of the books I've read, I will go ahead and give you the list. A lot of these are ebooks and audiobooks. So the first book that I read was The Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. I love this book. This is actually one of my favorites at this point now. It's really powerful. If you guys have heard anything about it, the rumors are true. It's an amazing book. I gave it 5 stars. I have told you guys in the past that I'm not a fan of doing the full 5 stars because I feel like there's always room for improvement. This book was just amazing. It's a modern day telling of a Christmas Carol, but in such a powerful, thought-provoking way. So we follow this young guy who his brother had been viciously murdered, shot down at gunpoint, and this kid's trying to grapple with it. He's trying to come to terms with his brother's death. In addition, his father was taken in an act of violence. His uncle had died in an act of violence. This is his way of life. And the whole storyline is basically this boy gets on an elevator and he has a gun. He has his brother's gun with him. And he plans on going to the person that had killed his brother. He knows who it is. He plans on hunting him down and killing him too, because in his mind frame, you take care of your own. So he gets on this elevator, and as the elevator descends from one floor to another, a person comes on each floor. So first it's a very pretty girl. Turns out this pretty girl was his first crush who got shot, and she died a horrible, horrible death, and he didn't get a chance to tell her how he felt about her, and she's trying to talk him out of making a big mistake. Then another person gets on, and then eventually his uncle gets on the elevator, and his father gets on the elevator, and they're all talking to him, and they're like, you have so much potential, why throw it away for this? And by the end, the boy has to make a choice whether or not he gets off the elevator and essentially kills this person, or if he takes a different route. Very, very powerful, very thought-provoking. There is an afterword from Jason, the young man who wrote this book, talking about how we as a community need to focus on stopping teenage violence and trying to give our youth the tools they need in order to make better choices and to manage their anger and their rage, find positive ways to manage it. Instead, and he also talks about how we sometimes just throw these kids into the system after something like this happens. We don't give them a second chance. So it was very thought-provoking, and I really enjoyed the conversation that the author had afterward. This was an audiobook I listened to. The hardback is just as compelling. The audiobook, I was really, really interested in hearing that point of view of the character. You could hear so much in a voice, you could hear so much passion and fear, anger in a voice. So I really wanted to check that out in audiobook. And I'm happy I did so. So if you read the book or you haven't read the book at all, definitely check out the audiobook. It's very quick. It only took, I think, an hour and a half for me to get through. And it, like I said, it leaves you with so many different thoughts and makes you think in so many different ways. So next book I read was Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. I wish I could say that I enjoyed this book. It seems like the perspective that I've been getting is that either people love this book or they hate it. And I think I'm leaning towards hate. Hate's such a strong word. I just disdain for it. Disdain for it. It was good at first. I could tell you that much. It's basically a thriller about a woman who ends up having a one-night stand, then moves into an affair with her boss. Her boss is a very successful doctor. And it also turns out that she becomes best friends with the boss's wife. So it sounds compelling at first, right? It sounds like it could be fairly interesting. I walked in thinking it was going to be thriller / mystery, nothing more, nothing less, very realistic. It turned weird. So near the end of the book, it got very muddled down and then it became like something supernatural. It was boring at that point. Like the whole entire time that I was nearing the end of the book, I'm like, when is this damn book going to be over with? And I've never really felt that way except for a couple times in the past with books. Usually I'll muddle through the books even if I don't particularly care for them because I really want to give an honest review. This one was really rough. I almost DNF'd it a couple times. But it was just really complex. It was very muddled. I feel like the supernatural aspect that was introduced, towards halfway towards the end of the book, I feel like it was thrown in there just for extra, I guess, just to be extra. I didn't care for it. So that was a hard pass. Also, the next book I talked to you guys about a few weeks ago, that was Open Earth. It was the graphic novel. I read that. Number 4 was Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. The reread of that just to get familiar with it once more before Lady's Guide came out, which is my next book that I read, book number 5. And book number 6 was Immortal Beloved by Kate Tierman. This one was surprising because I thought I wasn't going to like it. I felt like the main character at the very beginning of the book was kind of overdone. Like her character profile was like a repeat from other books. So I didn't particularly care for her at first. And then by the end, she kind of grew on me. So I actually decided I was going to continue reading on with this series. So hopefully in November, I actually start picking up that second book out of the trilogy and figuring out whether or not I am going to continue to like it or just not like it at all. So the 7th book that I finished was on my TBR, shocking, and that's The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And this one is by Roberto Aguirre Sacasa and Robert Hack. I believe Robert Hack did most of the illustrations in the Walking Dead graphic novels, and I think a few other graphic novels as well. Very talented artist. His work is so incredible. It reminds me a lot of like the B-rate cult classics from the 70s that you would watch. This is good. I really enjoyed it very thoroughly. I was a little worried about it at first because I thought they were going to try to make it like spin it off to be modern, that way they could get the modern audience, but they actually kept it in the time frame of the 1960s, which I greatly appreciated. I am very anxious to see how Netflix pulls this off. I believe their profile is 1968. Because there is a couple parts inside the teaser trailer where they show Harvey and Sabrina inside a matinee and they're watching Night of the Living Dead, which was essentially released in 1968. It was start filming in 67. Well, not 67. I think May of 66. They took a little hiatus, came back, finished filming it in 67, and then finally got released out to the public in 68. So I think it's going to be 1968 inside the TV show. We'll just have to see on the October 26th. Right now, the book is focused. It kind of goes throughout a series of decades in Sabrina's life, like when she's a child, the late 50s. And then I believe it ends in 1966. Phenomenal book. A couple key things that I enjoyed is there's a scene where Anne Margaret makes a cameo. If you guys don't know who Anne Margaret is, definitely check her out. But here is a cameo of Anne Margaret. She's talking to Sabrina about her experience in Bye Bye Birdie, the movie musical from the 60s. Really cool. I like the fact that they tied her in somehow. We had that little bit of 60s, taste of the 60s in there. So many incredible things with this book. And Betty and Veronica actually make an appearance. And I'm trying to find a picture of that so you can take a look. Oh, come on. I keep flipping over it, and I know it's coming up. There we go. So we do have quite a few occurrences with Betty and Veronica. If you guys are familiar with the Archie comics or even the Riverdale TV show, you know who I'm talking about. So you see them quite a few times in here. I'm glad that they kept that crossover reference in there. If you remember the original comics, there would be times where Archie would make a cameo in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, vice versa. I always liked that they kind of had those worlds meshed together. And they do it the same way on here as well. Very cool. I really appreciate the fact that they stay true to that genre. This is a very dark book. So, trigger warning that it's very dark in terms of gore. There's a lot of gore in this particular volume, and it's probably going to get even more gory when December volume 2 comes out. In addition, there's a lot of talk about the dark arts or Satanism, if you will. If that makes you uncomfortable, you might want to steer away from this book. Clearly, this book is not for young kids. It really, I would say that 17-year-olds probably would be okay reading this. It's for a mature audience base. So I gave it 4 stars. I'm really excited about seeing what the second volume brings. And of course, I'm really excited about seeing what the TV show brings, or the Netflix series. Is that what they call that nowadays? You kids are crazy. So I finished that. And number 8 was Pet Sematary. I actually finished the reread for this for the second time. It's been several years since I read Pet Sematary, and I would have thought that my mind would have changed a little bit by now, but I still consider it a 5-star read. I really enjoy Stephen King's character development. He does such a great job developing characters, and I've been having such an interest in this particular book for quite some time, for the past month. And it actually started when I watched a documentary on Shudder, the Shudder app, about the making of Pet Sematary, and just finding out so many little details. Like one instance I didn't know about is the road that they talk about inside Pet Sematary, the Route 15 or Route 15. It was an actual road that Stephen King lived near, and he had the same experience. So he had his daughter lose a cat because somebody ran it over on that road. He almost had his son get hit by a semi. So some of the things that he's talking about inside the book is actually from his real life perspective. He just kind of took it a step up. Like, what if my son were to get hit by a car? What would I think at that point? Such an incredible documentary. I wish I remembered what the name of it was, but it really opened up my eyes and made me really want to pick up this book again and really dive into it and read it and just immerse myself into that world once more. It's so dark, it's so cryptic, and this is like the perfect time to read those kind of books. And it leaves you with that really, that like, thought-provoking piece where you think to yourself, what if we could have done this? Is this right or wrong? So it was really interesting to read that and get that darkness and to have that, thought-provoking content in the back of your head. And the last book I read is, it's my 9th book, and it was The Haunted House Diaries. I wasn't a fan of it. It was okay. It is based off a true story, and it's about this family of this generation. I'm trying to think of the words. So it's a family that lives in this home that they owned for several generations. Like so many different generations of the family lived in this home, and they all had paranormal experiences, but they couldn't figure out what caused it. So, just to clarify, it was interesting at the very beginning. It started off where this woman, our protagonist, the lady that is the patriarch of the family, she owns the property. She starts recording her experiences around 1964, talking about some of the weird occurrences that happened in this house. And it goes all the way up to 2015, I believe. It's okay. Like at the very beginning, it's really interesting. It's compelling. I wouldn't necessarily say it was spooky. But by the end, it started just getting really muddled together. That they started talking about UFOs at one point and men wearing black, and I was just like, okay, this is just really extreme, and it's very hard for me to believe that there's two supernatural occurrences at this one particular property. It just didn't make sense to me. So I don't know. I like I said, I gave it 3 stars. I feel like I was being kind of generous with that. Not my favorite book. Not necessarily the cup of tea I was expecting. So yeah. So those were the 9 books that I finished up for the month of October. In addition, I am currently reading Jane, which, if you guys remember, I told you Jane is the retelling of Jane Eyre. What if Jane Eyre fell in love with a rock star? So this is by April Lindener, and it's published by Poppy Books. So I'm getting into this a little bit. I haven't gone too far into it to tell you whether I absolutely love it or hate it. So we shall see. That is currently inside my dinosaur book sleeve for the month. Other than that, that's all I really have. I do want to let you guys know that if you are local to Ohio, if you live near Cincinnati, we are doing our Books by the Banks. I don't want to say, I guess convention. It's a festival. We're going to call it festival, y'all. So it's the Books by the Banks Festival. It's one of the Cincinnati's regional book festival. It's one of the bigger book festivals in the state of Ohio. And it's going to be Saturday, October 20th at Saturday, October 20th at 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I don't know where I was going with that. It's downtown Cincinnati, Duke Energy Convention Center. So if you're familiar with downtown Cincinnati, we have so many wonderful things that you can do. You could go see Roebling Bridge. There's a lot of fun restaurants, a lot of museums down there, but ultimately there's the book festival. And the great thing about this book festival is it's free admission. So just to kind of give you an idea of what to expect, we're going to have a huge panel of regional authors. We are actually going to be having Grady Hendrix. And if you guys are familiar with any of his work, he wrote Horror Store, which is one of my personal favorites. My Best Friend's Exorcism. And he just recently released a book called We Sold Our Souls, which I'm really looking forward to picking that up this Saturday, getting to meet him and reading that book as well. There is also going to be quite a few young adult authors there. One in particular that I want to give a shout out to is my girl Meg Letter. She's a Cincinnati local here. I've met her before. She is incredible. She actually wrote The Museum of Heartbreak and Letting Go of Gravity. You guys have heard both of my reviews in the past for both of those books. She's going to be here with a table set up, and she's also going to be doing a panel, a couple different panels actually. She's going to be doing a VIP meet and greet with teens, local teens here, and she's going to be doing a panel on writing for young readers. So definitely check her out as well if you're in the area. And of course, we're going to have Andrew Schaefer, and he is actually my new hero right now. He wrote Hope Never Dies, an Obama-Biden mystery. I believe Paul Reeds gave a review on this book as well, and he seemed to enjoy it quite a bit. So he's going to be there. Andrew's going to be there. He's going to be signing books and meeting with all of the fans there. And those are just a few people. There's going to be so many authors here. I believe there's more than 150 authors coming to this. This is literally the whole list. You could spend all day here. So I'm actually going to be there from 10 a.m. to probably 1 o'clock because I want to come back to my house and set up enough time for the live show. Like I said, this is a free admission, so if you have kids, any other members of your family, this is definitely family friendly. And also, I want to give a shout out to one particular thing. Yeah, so they're going to have music, and they're also going to have, like I said, a lot of panels and teen scene activities, but they also have educator discounts. So if you are an educator, you can get up to 20% off on any purchases that you make at Books by the Banks. Just make sure that you have your Joseph Beth Golden Apple card with you or a valid Buckeye Educator's ID with you. They're going to have concession carts as well with beverages, breakfast items, sandwiches, salads, snacks, pizza, etc. So you could do a one-stop shop, if you will, and spend the whole day at Duke Convention Center. I don't know what their policy is on video taking. If they do allow it, I'm going to try to get some clips for you guys. That way you could experience it with me if you unfortunately don't live in the area. Other than that, that's all I have for this evening. Thank you for tuning in to Pros Before Bros. If you are interested in seeing further content, please feel free to subscribe below, like and comment. Thank you so much. It's been great seeing you. Bye.